Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Wednesday. The Louis Vuitton Key Pouch or Cles, is it really worth it? It retails from $200 to $440 here in the States, depending on the version that you want to get. I have different versions of the Cles, but I thought I would kind of go into detail on as many of them as possible so I can give you guys a little bit more information. But does it really live up to the name? Is it really worth the hype? I get asked this question quite often, so I thought I would give you guys my 2 cents and you can make a decision for yourselves. So let's get started. I think this is hands down the best SLG or small leather good to start any luxe collection. And because it has such a fabulous price point, especially for the canvas version retailing for $200 here in the States, it's a great way to be able to get a feel for the brand without having to break the bank or without having to spend thousands on a canvas bag that maybe you are not too fond of. I don't know about you, but for me, I would rather start off with something small to see if the brand really ends up suiting my lifestyle. And I've said that many times here on my channel, but really it comes down to just because some of these luxury goods are very expensive and just because, you know, a lot of people rave about them doesn't necessarily mean that it suits everyone's lifestyle. So that's why I always recommend starting with something small, and then that way you can kind of take baby steps without having to spend thousands right up front. At least that's how I feel anyways, but kudos to anyone that does that. One thing for sure, it is very, very small, but looks can be extremely deceiving because this little thing fits so much, especially if you're going more so into the empreinte Cles, and I will talk about that in a second, but regardless, these fit a lot more than you would think, and sometimes I feel that people often don't give them a chance because they're so small, but trust me, they pay for themselves a million times over. Even though the name states that it is a key pouch, I really think that the possibilities are endless when it comes to this item. So the following are some of the uses that I have seen over the years or that I have used personally over the years, and I think that, again, the possibilities are endless. So one of the first things is definitely a key holder, as the name states, or a key pouch. It can be great for a coin pouch as well. Another thing that this is great for is for a little mini wallet, and again, like I said before, it could be a little small, but it fits quite a bit in here. You can fit your driver's license, some cash, you can even fit a lip balm in here, lipstick, depending on the size, but then that way you can just use this and run errands without having to carry a big handbag, or without having to carry too much, especially if you're just running to go grab something really quickly and then come back. So running errands is perfect with this item. People also use these as bag charms, and because you have this little key ring here that you can just kind of pop open and add to your to the handle of your handbag, it's very easy to be able to just kind of switch these on to different handbags at any point in time. And also people end up adding these to the D-rings inside of their Louis Vuitton handbags. That way, if there's something in here that they really need to get to quickly, they could just feel for the D-ring, and then that way they don't have to be too fussy with their handbag trying to find this item, because as I said before, it is fairly small. But my favorite thing to use this item for is definitely a catch-all, and currently I am using the empreinte Cles as a catch-all, and in here I usually have hair ties. I actually took quite a few of them out, so there are none in here, and I have a lot of bobby pins, and really it comes down to, I like to keep my hair items separate from my mini pochette and my cosmetic pouch, just because it makes it a little bit easier on me. I'm constantly messing with my hair and I'm constantly putting up or taking it down or whatnot. So this makes it a whole lot easier to have it in just one space instead of me having to, you know, look through my cosmetic pouch or my mini pochette to find them. But really, I just absolutely love using these as catch-alls, whether it's the empreinte one because it's a little bit bigger, or whether you go for the canvas version. I think these are both fantastic. And really, even though I do use mine for bobby pins, there's still a lot more items that you can use as a catch-all for these. Something else that a lot of people end up using this for is for loyalty cards. Now, even though I said that you can use them as a wallet, sometimes people have quite a bit of loyalty cards, and I know that you can. There's a new system and you can have apps for them, but still, some people like me are very old school and they like to have their loyalty cards. But it makes it a little bit easier. That way you're not taking up too much space in your wallet, especially if you're going for a smaller wallet and you kind of want to keep them a little separate. You can just put your loyalty cards in here. So those are just some of the many, many ways that you can use this item. And I'd be really curious to hear what you guys use yours for, if it's not any of the examples that I mentioned previously. Another great feature about this item is that it is so incredibly slim. So even though it is small, it's slim, and it's perfect for whenever you're going for your smaller handbags. Because whenever we use smaller handbags, you obviously want to maximize as much space as possible. And sometimes you worry about carrying your essentials with you, and you want to make sure that you have as much with you that you would possibly need when you're going for a smaller handbag. So the fact that it doesn't take up too much space, you can just slip it in a little pocket. It is perfect. I'm going to go one step further and I'm going to show you guys what they look like in some of my smaller handbags. But for example, they are perfect to be able to use them in the Louis Vuitton Favorite, in the Louis Vuitton Eva Clutch, and the Louis Vuitton Pochette Accessoire, because those are some of the smaller handbags that people often use as clutches or just because they want to have a smaller handbag for the day. Here I have the Saint Laurent Monogram clutch, and I'm just going to give you guys a little peek as to what it looks like inside. And with the Empreinte clay, see how much room it takes up. Not too much. I still have quite a bit of room for other items. And now let me show you guys. And sometimes people worry about this because it is a little bit larger, but as you can see, it fits in there perfectly without any problems. Now the canvas version, since it is smaller, it will definitely take up less room. And as you can see, I have a lot more space for other items as well. Okay, so that is the Saint Laurent. Now let's go into the Chanel mini rectangular flap, because these are obviously very, very small and you definitely want to maximize your space with this. But there is the canvas version, pops in, and I still have room for a lipstick. I still have room for my mini pochette. You still have room for your keys, your phone, because it doesn't take up too much space. And some people have used it in the little pocket here. I personally don't want to because I don't want to stretch this out since it is made out of all leather. But I think it doesn't take up too much room. So there is the canvas version. Now let's try out the Empreinte clay, because I have also used this in here. And there you go. It takes up a little bit more room because obviously this isn't the largest handbag, but still you have enough room for lipsticks, your cell phone, your keys, or what have you. So the fact that you can still maximize how much you need in here is awesome with the mini rectangular from Chanel. Now let me try it with the last one, which is the Chanel wallet on chain, especially because this one has a very slim profile. But let's check it out. There you go. Here is the canvas one. You just pop it in and you are done. You have enough room for your keys. I fit my mini pochette in here with this as well. It is a little bit of a stretch, but I can still make it work. I have put my round coin purse. My cell phone fits up here, so I still have quite a bit of space. And now let's try it with the Empreinte clay so you can see what it looks like. And I'm using the red because it's a little bit easier to see, but you still have quite a bit of room, and I'm still able to close this up without a problem, with ease, and without making it too bulky. Again, depending upon how many items you're fitting in here. But those are just some of the examples on some of the smaller handbags that you can use it for. It doesn't take up too much space, and you're still able to maximize how much room you have for other items. So I think that's fantastic. Also, if you're using this as a mini wallet, the fact that they have the zip closure is a really great added bonus, because if you are carrying larger bills, then obviously you want to make sure that you don't lose them. And because you have this little security of the zipper, you know that they're just not going to end up falling out, or they're just going to be all over your purse. So I absolutely love the zippered closure that they have. The canvas, the Monogram vernis, and the epi have the top zip closure, and then the Empreinte clay just has the snap button closure on the front, and then they still have the added security of the zippered compartment on the back side. So if you haven't noticed, I am a huge fan of the clay, and I rave about it all the time. I've talked about it a million times, and this is just a video showing my love for it and, you know, why I think it's such a great item. But now what I wanted to do is go into a little bit more depth on each one. That way, if you're deciding whether to go with canvas or whether to go with epi or vernis or Empreinte, I can give you a little bit more feedback on that. And unfortunately, I do not have a Monogram vernis or an epi to share with you guys. I actually sold my vernis, but I still thought that I would give you guys some pointers on each of these. If you're going for the canvas version of the clay, it is so incredibly carefree because you have the coated canvas on the outside, and then on the inside, you have the cross-grain leather lining, and it is so extremely durable. You don't have to worry about vachetta. You don't have to worry about water stains. Truth be told, there is one thing that you have to worry about with the canvas version, and that is a demi-azur clay will still get the same color transfer that a wallet would get or a handbag. So I still thought I would mention that as well. These are amazing, such workhorses, and I've actually had this, like I said before, I've had this the longest, and this was my first piece, and I have used it to death. It has paid for itself a million times over, and I've had to get it repaired once, and that's because the teeth started to go out because I've used it so much. But sometimes, oftentimes, you will find that if you have an issue with the zippered little tab here, that if you take it into the boutique, that it will be a free fix. At least in some of, actually most of the boutiques that I've gone into, I've heard them say that. So that way, if you ever have any issues with this either popping off or breaking off, you could always take it into the boutique. I don't want to say and sit here and quote that they will always do it for free, but I'm just saying from experience what I have heard and what I have had the sales associates tell me. So I just thought I would mention that as well. But again, because you have the zippered closure here, it is very, very secure. So love, love, love the canvas version of the Cles. So easy to use, so easy to just kind of pop onto your handbag or just use it for a grab and go, whatever it is, but you don't have to worry about it whatsoever. And the canvas is very, very, very durable. And for something this small, again, the cost per wear will pay for itself a million times over. Even though I'm a big fan of the canvas version, there is something about the Empreinte version that I absolutely love. One of the things I like about it the most is the fact that because it is a little bit larger, if you're going to be using this as a wallet, you don't have to worry about folding the bills too many times in order to make them fit. So I thought I would also show you guys. So here I just have a $10 bill folded once, and I'm able to just pop that in there without a problem, and I'm still able to close it up, versus having to put it into the canvas ones. You have to fold it just a few more times in order to make them fit, especially if you have a little bit more bills with you. You have to fold them a few more times to be able to make them fit without them getting stuck on the teeth. So the fact that they are a little bit larger and you have a little bit more give because it is all leather, so even though you can fit quite a bit in here, I think these just have a little bit more that you can fit on the inside because it is all leather. It just kind of is able to expand a little bit easier, and it still won't end up ruining the item. The snap button closure is another detail that I absolutely love. I think it is so beautiful, and I think that it adds you know, an overall more luxurious look to that piece, if that makes any sense. But I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. And another added bonus is that even though it does have the snap button closure, you also have the zippered compartment on the back side. So that way, if you needed to keep your items a little bit more secure, like I said before, larger bills or whatever it is, you have that option. So I think that this is absolutely wonderful. With Empreinte leather, you have to worry about the embossing, and sometimes this will start to flatten out and it won't be as prominent. But as you can see, it is still held up incredibly well. I haven't had any issues with them flattening out and just kind of looking like it's a little bit dull. Not at all. I feel that the colors are still extremely vibrant, so the wear on these is amazing. I would even go as far as saying that they are as durable as the canvas version because I haven't had any issues with them whatsoever. And like I said before, with the lighter colors, sometimes you run into color transfer, but I haven't had any issues with this at all either. And this is the Rose Ballerine, and even though I'm not, you know, I don't really tend to baby this either, to be honest, and I haven't had any problems with it whatsoever. The only thing that I do make note is to not put this in my Damier Ben bags because, of course, the red lining will cause the color transfer. But other than that, I haven't really babied it, and I used it a lot during the summer, and no problems whatsoever. So huge, huge fan of the Empreinte. Plus, they smell fantastic. Yes, I'm going to be one of those YouTubers that smells their small leather goods because the leather is absolutely intoxicating. And, you know, I've said it before that I cannot wait to add an Empreinte bag to my collection because I am so fond of these. And like I said earlier, I always suggest trying out something small to see if you'll end up liking a larger item. And I just know that I'm going to fall in love with an Empreinte bag because of these and because of how, you know, how great these have held up. Now, even though I don't have my Monogram Vernis Cles anymore, I actually ended up selling it due to the fact that I didn't use it too often. Once I started getting the Empreinte ones, those kind of took over the place of it. But I just have to say that the Monogram Vernis key pouches have such incredible pops of color. They are absolutely gorgeous. And I will always say that about Monogram Vernis, you know, and I've had a few items on this particular type of leather, and I have noticed that it's not actually for my lifestyle, but I can still appreciate it. And one thing I would have to say when you go for a Cles and Monogram Vernis, that it tends to be a little bit fussier than any of the rest because you have that clear coat. Sometimes you want to make sure that, for example, if you throw it in your handbag and let's say you're running to the store and you throw your receipt in there instead of your wallet, you want to make sure that you don't put it up against any type of receipts, any type of newspaper, because then that will end up sticking to the clear coat, and then you'll end up having that type of transfer. Not necessarily color transfer per se, but more so print transfer, if that makes any sense. So that's why it's a little bit fussier. So even though they are not for me, I still think that they are gorgeous. Another line of clays that I ended up selling is the Multicolor line, and I still think they are beautiful. I had the older versions, but I really didn't use them, and in the beginning I thought that I was going to just set them aside and have them kind of like a little, you know, kind of like a little display, but I just figured, you know, it's just going to sit there. I'd rather just sell it and put that money towards something else, but I still think that they are beautiful. And last but not least, the Epi version. Now, even though I haven't owned the Epi version, I definitely have to give it props because not only is it an all leather clay, but you also had the added carefree texture that Epi has to offer. So I think that's awesome as well. So maybe if you don't want to go with Empreinte, maybe if you're a little bit worried about, as I said before, with the embossing, then you can go with the Epi if you want an all leather piece, and you still have something that's very, very carefree. So all in all, do I recommend the clays or the key pouches or whatever you want to call it? Absolutely. Are they worth it? 100%. I am crazy about them. I have 5 in my collection, and even though I said before I did sell some of mine, I still am crazy about them. I can still appreciate them, and I use them quite often for the many uses that I mentioned earlier, and I just think that these are great, whether you are starting off your collection or whether you're adding to your collection. These are wonderful, and you know, definitely don't judge a book by its cover because of how small it is or the fact that you don't think that you'll end up using it, because I use mine, I mean, to death, and they have definitely paid for themselves a million times over, as I stated. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys all next week. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.